Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. Why do people choose to cheat on their spouses with their colleagues? Are work wives or work husbands making the real spouses look bad? What's the appeal? Today on rSpace, we hear about cheaters who just can't get enough of their coworkers. Up first, is it always friends first? Discovered someone in my friend group knew of my ex-wife's infidelity a year before I did. 4 years divorced. Could use some advice on navigating this. I am 4 years divorced from a serially cheating wife. At the time of divorce, I was 99% certain she was having an affair, but she never confessed, and I never had a smoking gun piece of evidence. So I had to decide to divorce based on an educated guess. Since then, I've had concrete evidence, but at the time, I had a lot of smoke, no fire. I take marriage very seriously for religious reasons, and it was one of the most difficult decisions I ever had to make. I felt I was healing very nicely over the years, but last month, I learned that someone in my friend group knew of at least one of my wife's infidelities a year before I did, and never disclosed it to me. I had introduced my wife to this person, and they had become close. That year was very consequential for me. I fell into a deep depression to the point of calling the suicide hotline once. This person does not know I know this. I'm trying to figure out how to best proceed. This is digging up some stuff, but luckily, I'm not entirely off kilter. I'm trying to figure out if I should confront them after all of this time, or let sleeping dogs lie and simply keep my distance in the future. Any thoughts appreciated. Looking for thoughts? The community will give them. Aggressive Cup 8452 says, it depends. They knew each other, but were they friends? Friend enough to cover an affair for? If that's the case, maybe just cut this person from your life. Confrontation won't solve much after divorce. On the other side, you said that you are religious. Religious people, in my experience, tend to always choose reconciliation, and usually reconciliation comes with killing the messenger. Your friend could have been thinking that you would have forgiven your spouse, and your spouse would then convince you to cut ties for a better start of the healing process. Or the last option, they were both up to no good, so no one was in a position to snitch on the other. JM Legend 22 chimes in, that isn't your friend. A friend would have told you and helps you plan your exit strategy, not hide your wife's infidelity. No Communication 9979 says, I'll go with keeping your distance and letting your friendship with them drift away. If it's important to them and they ask why you're being distant, then tell them why. My guess is that they'll be so embarrassed of their actions that they will let the friendship go. You deserve better friends in your life. Cajun Templar says, if this person is still in your friend group, I would expose her to the group. Best everyone know the character of such a person and make their decisions on continued friendship knowing the full truth. As far as your continued relationship with this person, end it, and let this person know why. I think I would only disclose and bring it up to them if this person was still in the friend group. If you all still do stuff with this person, then yeah, I think it's important to bring this to the surface. If not, I'm not sure it's worth it. If it's going to completely destroy the progress you've made up until this point, then it's totally not worth saying anything. Focus on you. Stay in your lane. Update. The two truths many of us had to come to terms with. Divorced 4 years now, and while I'm in a very good place in my healing, I still think about it often. For myself, when someone asks me why my marriage ended, I say, there was infidelity. 3 simple words. 3 words that, for most people, give them a moral reasoning for why I ended my marriage without needing to ask a follow-up, and most don't. But while the truth is not any less than those 3 words, for many of us, the truth is a whole lot more. Because while, yes, there was infidelity on my wife's part, I didn't divorce her for the infidelity. I divorced her for the lying. Some partners, when confronted with evidence of an affair, admit it. And while their actions are horrible, that admittance is, I believe, a small act of kindness. They fundamentally betrayed you, yes, but at least they're not denying your reality. At least telling you the truth is the first step in reconciliation. But for myself, and what I read many of you on this board saying, my partner refused, even in the face of overwhelming evidence, to admit that there was an affair. For me, to this day, my ex-wife would rather me think I am crazy than to say, yes, there was infidelity, even though she now lives with one of the men she had an affair with. People sometimes ask me, why, when you had XYZ information, did you still stay? What they can't understand is that she was so adamant in her denial, often through tears, insisting I had misinterpreted the situation, that even though I had evidence of an affair, there was now 2 fundamental, horrible truths I had to wrap my head around before I could divorce my ex-wife. There was the infidelity, an earth-shattering revelation in its own right. But perhaps even more earth-shattering was coming to terms that I married a compulsive liar who would rather me think I am crazy than to admit what happened. And the really messed up thing is, you cannot accept one without accepting the other. Affairs are awful and not ever justified in my opinion. But while morally wrong, I can sympathize with a person who got caught up and came clean about it. But for those of us who have never had the dignity of an admission, there are two deep shifts we need to reckon with. The community responds. Rada Help has this to say. I've said this a few times. Rarely, if ever, will you see a cheater use the word cheating or affair. The denial is their way of mentally justifying their actions, or at least stopping themselves from seeing themselves as who they really are. There's mental gymnastics. They're not having an affair. It just kind of happened. They're not having an affair. I was drunk. They're not having an affair. It was revenge for something you did. It's never because they made a decision, but because they chose someone else or their own self-satisfaction over their marriage. Heartbroken 1997 wants to say, I can 100% relate. While I thought we had simply hit a rough patch of our marriage, my cheating husband was lying to me, our therapist, probably himself, and everyone else, saying that he wasn't having an affair. He was just unhappy and didn't feel the spark anymore. The one person I put on a gosh darn pedestal completely pulled the wool over my eyes up until I trusted my gut and checked his phone. I married a freaking monster. Still hope that karma will work her beautiful magic. I wish him misery for the rest of his sorry freaking life. Salt Palpitation 108 chimes in. I have been there too. For 4 months, my wayward wife would scream and break down in hysterics that nothing happened. She just had a friend and needed support. Last month, I found out that she was sleeping with him before I caught them, and she's still with him. Honestly, I could have survived the initial revelation if she'd come clean. The 6 months of subsequent lies and gaslighting burnt out my love and destroyed any hope for my marriage. On some level, I think she just couldn't accept what she'd become and couldn't stop. Aware Hovercraft 402 thinks, I can sympathize with a person who got caught up and came clean about it. Well, I can't. Betrayal is betrayal is betrayal. I wasn't always happy with my ex. I sure as F didn't think banging some other chick would make me feel better or be healthy for the relationship. I have respect for people and myself now and their feelings. I loved her, but entertaining some other person behind their back even in the moment, I would know it's wrong. Maybe I'm bitter and vindictive, but no way in hell are they getting an out or a pat on the head for not putting one through my head after they put one through my heart. That's a really great point, OP. I think being with someone who makes you feel like you're crazy and out of your mind is worse than the lying. They totally make you question yourself and who you are. It's a dangerous thing to do, to question yourself and who you are, and for someone to make you do that rather than support, love, and respect you is a real shame. Totally manipulating you into thinking it's you, completely avoiding responsibilities and the consequences of their actions. I think if they admitted what they did, I wouldn't call it an act of kindness, but something they owe you out of respect. They owe you the truth. Additionally, I also think it's normal to think about it regularly. I think that's part of the grieving process. Revisiting. What do you think? Next up, be careful. Cheating can lead to an ER visit. Wife cheated and moved in with the guy she met 3 weeks ago at work. Wife got a job November 14th. Told me she was leaving December 6th. She had absolutely no contact with this crowd before. We kept to each other all the time and had all the same friends from church. They could only talk at work. Not sure how, but apparently they're very much in love with each other. I have screenshots. Lots of, I love you more than anything, texts. Lots of nudes as well. She's moved out, had sex, started doing drugs with him, and have filed for divorce since. I caught her getting dropped off by this guy one night after I was suspicious of the way she had been acting and asked to have the phone I pay for back since she just plain wouldn't reply to anyone for days. She gave it to me and unlocked it. I saw all her coworkers were helping her cheat on me by taking shifts for her so she could go to his house. We're young, but I'm not dumb. However, nobody saw this coming. Out of the 40 people we know and know us intimately, nobody expected this. Even our couples counselor was in shock with it all. Our last conversation ended with her bringing up and laughing about childhood sexual traumas I had been through. We dated for 2.5 years. Had been married for 4 months when she first slept with him. She has made it a point to call me daily or every other day with ridiculous questions like, do I have any dresses at your place still? And even did so Christmas morning. Not to mention she's been stalking my social media accounts. What the F kind of sense does this make? Will it last? Why is she being so extremely hurtful? I truly don't deserve it, especially with the belittling of my traumas without any remorse or consideration. I mean, why? Update. She's been to the ER twice in the past week for various pains and injuries. Docs gave her the good stuff on IV and prescribed her meds they couldn't say. She's using my insurance. Another update. She's been blocked on social media and now her affair partner is stalking my social media. The community has some thoughts on this matter. Dayu RDU says, dang, some people can barely be called humans. End the divorce. No contact and be happy you found out now, not later. The OP replies, working on the divorce stuff. She called me saying that she thinks all the paperwork I gave her is fishy. She isn't exactly intelligent or educated. If only you knew all the details and crap, she's done. Dayu RDU responds back, oh bro, who did you marry? Let her lawyer inspect the papers. Get out as soon as possible, my dude. The OP replies, our marriage therapist did a full psychological eval on us the first session we had with him. There was an incident on our honeymoon that made me force my wife and I to get counseling or get divorced. This guy is absolutely shocked by it all. No obvious hints of this anywhere. Hindsight there sure is though. Juju Salem 73 chimes in. She is on drugs, OP. Why are you still in contact with her? 1. Clothes and belongings in a storage. 2. Communicating through a lawyer. 3. Blocked on all social media. 4. Every interaction with her is recorded. With enough evidence of physical and moral abuse, proceed to put a restraining order on her. Move on, OP. 1. Get her off of your insurance immediately. 2. This sounds like she's having some sort of psychological break. The short time frame and the erratic behavior seems like it may have something to do with her mental health. Block the affair partner on social media. Don't talk to her and let the lawyers do the talking. I feel like there's nothing more you can do for her. Let her wallow in whatever life she's created for herself. She's not the person you knew. You definitely don't deserve any of this. But drugs and mental health will totally flip a world upside down. I'm sorry, OP. Have you had a similar experience? Let us know below. Lastly, taking the necessary steps toward your future on your own terms. I got my closure tonight, and it feels amazing. My ex-fiancé had a relationship with a coworker that I found to be inappropriate in its nature. This led to us separating, but I let her still live in my house. She has a past of cheating, but I truly loved her, so I still gave her a chance. Anyway, after we separated, she almost immediately started seeing the friend that she worked with. No sex, but kissing and hanging out a lot. This has been confirmed by their, now former friends. Fast forward a few weeks, she convinced me to give her another chance, and then cheated on me with him. So I kicked her out of our home, technically my home. This was last Sunday, my D-Day. She came clean after I caught her in a web of lies. I've learned how she lies. She offered couples therapy, cutting all contact, and switching jobs. Come tonight, their coworker told me where they were. She left my house today telling me how much she loved me. My son is sick and asked if he could FaceTime her today. She asked if she could stay at my apartment tonight while she was with him. I went to the bar they were at and confronted them. I got to say my piece. With no lies, I feel amazing and like I can finally move forward. I've left out so many details because they aren't important. What is important is knowing how good finding your closure can feel. I have a long road ahead of me. We were family. She was my only family other than my son, but I finally feel like I took a small step towards my future tonight, on my terms, not the cheaters. The community has some supportive words. It's whispered starts us off. 99% of the time, you, as the betrayed, have to make your own closure. It will always feel incomplete. It feels amazing, doesn't it? You can walk away on your own terms, not hers. Kudos to you, and cheers. Wise Papaya 6 adds, I hope it's that simple for you. I believe closure is a myth. These things are rarely lineal. And you will likely doubt your decision in the coming days, weeks, and months. She will come crawling back with explanations, and part of you will want to believe her. As comey as it sounds, choose you over her every time, and the true solution will come forth. The OP replies, I appreciate that so much. It makes it harder and easier for me that she hurt my son. If that makes sense? This was the final straw, and I feel at peace. For the first time in a very long time. There will be hard days ahead, but none of them will be as hard as the last few weeks. Good for you, OP. You're totally right. There will be hard days ahead, but nothing compared to what you've been through. You're free. Just don't take her back when she comes crawling back. Remember how good you feel in this moment. Remember how the freedom tastes. I'm also so sad for your son. It's hard when you bring someone into your world and open up to that. Have this person build that relationship with your child, and then they totally disrespect you and your son like that. They don't know what they had. Thoughts on closure? Thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss out. If you want to listen to more stories from me, check out our lounge where I feature a larger variety of non-cheating related stories. See you there.